What up, what up, what up, man? Welcome, Caleb. Thanks for being here, buddy.
Thanks for having me.
Man, this is a special edition of the Dad's Corner. We are trying out some new software and needed my tech guy, the number one man in the land for that. And so no better time to try out the software than with a guy who just had a baby. And so we're going to get into that a little bit later, but thanks for being here, Caleb. How's everything going?
Yeah, I know this is your podcast and you're going to ask me questions, but I want to immediately take over right from the start.
Yes, I love it. That's what we're here for.
87 questions for you.
The podcast, by the way, will be 4.5 hours long. So
we're going to cut it down into 25 seconds, though, so it'll be really quick. So I thought we should do an icebreaker so you and I get to know each other more, because we don't know each other that well. I'm just like a random guy off the street.
I don't even know what your last name is.
And so that's perfect. I don't want you to. I think what we should do is we each name our favorite child, and I'll obviously go first to give you kind of like a heads up and, so I'm playing the game fairly, but
Right.
I only have one child, so obviously mine's Blair. Who's your favorite child?
For me, the easiest thing for me to be Sophie. So she's the four-legged one. She was our first. So we had her before we even got married. And she's 11 now. In dog years, she's around 60. Mm-hmm. So she's getting on up there.
So kind of a bad look to pick your dog over your children. I
That's
don't know
how much I love
you.
them both, is that I will not pick either one of them.
You pick the dog over both of them?
Yes. I'm just saying if somebody walked in and was like, pick your favorite, I'm like, not doing it. I'm picking a dog.
Okay. That question was a setup. It was designed to set you up right from the beginning.
Well, and you see where my loyalties lie.
With the dog.
No. Actually, what's crazy is I know everybody probably would say this, but there's certain things about each one of them that are so drastically different. And you've met and been around both of our kids a lot. They could not be any more different, but also be the same. Like when you see them, they look the same. They have the same mannerisms with stuff. But like Cope is that soft natured, like he's got a good heart. He's like Casey. He's got a good heart. He's real sweet, not really a mean bone in his body. Like if you get him upset, yeah. And then Colin, like I've said before, she's more like me and more, it's all over her face. If she doesn't like you, if she's mad at something you've done, she'll let you know immediately. And it doesn't matter who you are or where you are. She's going to tell you right then, stop. I don't like that. I don't like you. I want you to leave me alone. And I'm like, I respect it, but it's hard to hear that from a 3-year-old sometimes. Like sometimes I feel like when she looks at me and goes, I don't like you right now. And I'm like, I don't even care. Casey, she wants you.
Hard to fight a toddler.
Yeah, it's like, I want to push her down sometimes, but you can't do that anymore.
I have a favorite one of your children, and it's also Sophie.
Neither one of us have said anything about London.
Yeah, she's fine.
She's just like
I thought you had a third child for a second that I didn't know about.
Yeah, by the way, London, and then, well, if we start naming all the animals at this house, we're going to be on here for quite a while.
You've kind of become a hobby farmer.
Well, and the goats, the chickens are, we got eggs coming out and in fact, speaking of eggs, you're the one that brought up the egg cooking question and not knowing how many eggs to cook for your family. I got a lot of ridicule for that because of how I eat eggs.
Yeah, it's insane.
And
I told you it was insane. And I told you not to put that on the podcast.
But I felt like it needed to be said that it's okay if you eat the yolk all at once.
It's not.
But yeah, well, Tony doesn't do scrambled or fried. He does omelets.
No. I'm not making an individual omelet for everyone that comes over to my house. That's crazy.
He did. So what he'll do is he'll go, okay, for omelets, I need 11 eggs. And then he'll make them. But the problem is when you can only make one at a time. So by the time he gets through with the first few, if it's his kids, they're coming back around for a second one. And sometimes he doesn't even get one. It's just one of the struggles of being a dad,
I'm a scrambled guy because I can't figure out fried eggs, and I don't know if there's like at some point in my life where I will, or I just may never learn. But scrambled, now I just do 2 per person and just assume it's going to even out on the back end and everything will be fine. I think that's the way to go.
What do you mean you can't figure out fried eggs? Like how to cook them?
Yeah, I just don't know. Like my brother tried to order like I'm like a freaking Waffle House employee.
Jeez, yeah. He said covered, smothered, chunked, and I was like, no, sir.
I don't have any chili. No, she's like, can you do sunny side up? And I think that's the easiest one.
That's first off, that's a jerk way to do somebody.
Okay.
Like you're not at a restaurant. You can't ask somebody the people only say sunny side up to be funny. Like nobody really likes their eggs like that.
And then
that
over
just means
medium,
runny.
Yeah, over medium. And then I realized over medium, I was like, I think I can do that. But that means you have to flip them over, which I was not considering, and everything just kind of shattered and broke apart.
You don't flip them over anyways?
I don't make fried eggs. What do you mean? This is my first attempt. Scrambled eggs, I just kind of...
Casey loves scrambled, and Casey makes really good scrambled eggs. She makes them good. She puts like cheese and a little bit of milk. Like she really makes good scrambled eggs. For me, on the fried eggs, I like to, you gotta get your pan really hot. And that way when your egg hits, it's like, psh, like it's really going. That way it cooks the bottom. And then I like to flip it over just for a second, just because I like the egg runny, but also don't want it to be raw. And I think if you don't at least get that other side a little seared, you may get a raw egg, which I don't know if it's bad for you, but
You're really passionate about eggs. We could probably do 2 good hours on eggs.
If I showed you how many, you think it's because I eat a lot of eggs, but it's like if I don't, we have eggs. Like Casey's taking like a dozen to school almost every other day.
She has them raw for lunch.
Yeah. Every morning we make the kids have started drinking a raw egg every morning before school.
They gag it down, but they're jacked now. They're huge.
I'm about to say, dude, the other day I had Cope lift the truck so that I could change a tire. He was just walked over there and picked it up. Yeah. So you recently you're new to fatherhood.
Yeah.
So is it, how's the sleep going right now? Is it, and she's a little over 2 months, 2.5?
I guess 3.
3, yeah.
3 years old. She's actually growing really fast. No, 3 months.
So it's a dog, another dog. Yeah. So is she sleeping through the night?
She has like nights where she'll sleep a lot, and then she has nights where she's like up 3 or 4 times. For me, it's not that bad because I'm awake for like 3 out of the 4 that she wakes up. It's bad for Cassie because I've tried. I'm unable to breastfeed. So for me, I can't really help out that much.
We're gonna come back to the I tried part here in a minute.
Yeah. Okay, I misspoke. That was my bad. Yeah. I try to help.
That's for setting me up on the favorite child thing.
I try to help, not with the breastfeeding, but in general. But it's, hey, do you need anything? And she's like, no, I'm good. I've done what I've could. Let's see what's on Netflix for a little while, and then they're gone.
Well, it works for y'all too, because she goes to bed. She's kind of goes to bed early, or earlier,
like 8:39.
Yeah, and you don't go to bed till you're like a midnight, 1 o'clock type person.
Yeah, like 2-ish is when I normally go to sleep.
Yeah, so that works out. I got a buddy who's like that, and he said, man, it's easy. I kind of take that first nighttime, midnight, 1 o'clock feeding, and then she takes that first feeding in the morning because she also gets up quite a bit earlier than you, I'm guessing, too.
Yeah.
See, Casey and I, it was hard because we both are the same. Like, I'll stay up later than Casey, but Casey's like a 11 to midnight also.
The problem is, too, is like I can't really help, and we didn't. Because didn't do bottles. We're like, we don't need to do bottles. And then the daycare called and said, are you ready to bring her to daycare? No. A, I don't want to pay for it yet. B, she doesn't know how to take a bottle. So then we panic. We have to teach her how to take a bottle because she's going to go to daycare in 2 months. And how are they going to feed her?
I forgot about that because Casey did that. She breastfed with Cope for, 11, almost a full year. And with Colin for a long time too. I don't remember what it was like. Do they just take a bottle pretty easily, or is it a big deal?
She's pretty good at it. There's so many nipples and different types of bottles, and it's overwhelming to try to figure out what there's reviews on everything. It's insane.
Well, when Casey told me we had to switch the nipples out, I was like, are they go bad? She goes, no, for different sizes. And I was like, what do you mean? She said, oh, we got 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
What?
We started a newborn off on a 3. I didn't know. I just thought I ordered the newborn ones and Amazon shipped them and we sanitized them, put them in the bottle. They shipped the wrong ones. They shipped 3s and she's just choking. She's never going to figure out the bottle. She just keeps coughing.
Like, my God, she's coming out too fast.
Yeah. And then I looked at it and I'm like, this doesn't seem right. And Amazon sent the wrong thing. I think she'll be fine when she goes to daycare now, but we've been doing 1 or 2 bottles during the day just to get her used to it, building up to that daycare time.
Well, so I wonder how the difference because some women just breastfeed the whole way through till their kids are like, do they really ever get bottles? But the mom doesn't obviously change. So I wonder how it doesn't come out different Like, you know what I mean? Like you have 1, 2s, 3s to control the flow, but yet moms who breastfeed till their kids switch to milk or to something else.
Listen, I've been in some lactation classes, so I can get into this deep if you want.
Tell me about that.
First of all, I didn't actually go to the class. Cassie said, "Do you want to go to this class?" And I said, "I think that'll be weird. It'll just be women. I can't imagine that they'd want me there." And then she came home and she said, "Yeah, all the other dads were there." Why? Why? What are they doing?
All the other dads thought there were going to be breasts there.
Now I'm the deadbeat dad because I didn't go to the lactation class, but I'm the only one that's trying not to be a weirdo, and I should be commended for that.
Every other guy there was like, what do you mean he didn't come?
So Cassie came back with information. There's something that happens. I don't actually know the details, but there's something that happens where milk starts coming out faster for the baby. The milk also gets thinner, so it starts naturally coming out faster. Yeah. Yeah, because there's colostrum. Then I assume it goes like skim, 2% whole. I actually have no idea how it goes after that. I was
about to say, really? It goes 2%, and then all of a sudden you end up with almond or goat. Like
it goes all the way.
Then it switches animals. So yeah, that's crazy. Well, I learned something new because I've never really thought about that until we talked about the different sizes and thought, well, women don't change, but I guess they do.
Maybe they do. Again, I didn't attend the class, so I don't know if this is an educational resource for people. I should not be the person this comes from. Maybe do some like back-end fact checking.
Today's facts are brought to you by Caleb. He is a genius in the lactation department.
I'm actually getting a certificate. It's no big deal.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, who needs marketing when you know that stuff?
Yeah, so, I mean, when I saw with these lactation, we thought it was included in there because they kept being like, come to us anytime, come to us anytime. And I thought these lactation consultants were included. And then we started getting the bills. We've got to stop going. Everything's going fine. Why do they keep telling us to come? They scheduled appointments out for us forever.
It's not free?
No. It's like...
You're talking about after she was born?
Well, so in the hospital, they do them.
Right.
After she's born, they do it. And then they schedule you out like every 2 weeks to kind of check on your progress. And everything was going fine. I understand if you have questions and need that, that's a great resource. But we didn't need it. So we're paying $300 every time we go to make sure she's eating. And she's big. She's eating. She's fine.
Yeah, $300 for them to go, Cassie, you're doing a great job.
Yeah,
I'll tell her for free. Like, this is crazy.
Which I think Cassie probably needed it and liked the first one. You're doing great. Everything's good. Great. We should have stopped going. We didn't need to go back.
That's insane. So since y'all have gotten her home, what was your biggest like worry? Like, what was the thing you were kind of not excited about, and not just changing diapers, but what was something that you're like, man, I'm nervous about it, or I don't even know what to expect. Like, what was your one thing?
I was worried that I was going to accidentally break her because she's so small, and I don't like holding babies. It freaks me out. But then after the first 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you can kind of hold her. She's going to go where she wants to go. And it's not that big of a deal.
All I have to do is make sure that she doesn't fall out of my arms. Like, that's the only thing I've got to worry about. See, for me, Casey and I with Cope, every time he even took a step, we were like, oh, or if I'm holding him and it was like, oh, it's his head. Like, he started crying. I don't know how to hold him. He doesn't like me. He knows I'm nervous. He can smell it on me. But then with Colin, like, she would fall and we could almost hear the sound of her body hitting the floor and go, that's not a bad one. Like, nah,
she's fine.
Nah, she's good. And and sometimes we'll look around the corner and she'll look back to see if we see her. And if she doesn't see us, she just jumps back up. I'm like, oh man, they're so tough. Yeah. I'm like you though. I hated holding babies. In fact, Casey's always joking around. You know, if Jason really likes you because he'll hold your baby.
I don't really have that fear anymore. I have friends that are having babies now. I'm still scared to hold their babies. Like, I don't really want to. With mine, no problem. Like, I could have her in one arm and she'll lean over and do whatever she wants.
Man, we had somebody on the podcast bring this up. I want to get your opinion on. Would you have attended a class that got you ready for like the actual birthing room, operating room, whatever you want to call it, like that whole room? Just because I feel like we always go in it having no clue what's really, like, we think we know. I thought, okay, she's going to push. And then whenever they were like, hey, we got to go do a C-section, I kind of had in my mind what I thought it was going to be like. And it was a lot more calm than what actually happened. But would you have gone to a class if they're like, hey, this is for fathers only. We want you to know what to expect, what we're going to ask of you?
Would I have wanted to? No, probably not. I was trying to just get in with doing as little. Not that I wanted to be surprised. I didn't want to freak myself out before I got
Yeah.
there. We did like a hospital tour and they showed us the room. They're like, this is where the dad sleeps. That looks uncomfortable.
It was basically cinder blocks. That's essentially where we sleep.
Yeah, I slept in a chair. Just straight back because they have this bed that folds out. I didn't get to use that. It's not like you can sleep anyway because everyone comes in there 150,000 times.
My biggest complaint with the hospital is y'all get some rest now, but we're going to come in every 45 minutes to check on somebody.
Oh no, Cassie's was a nightmare. So they put her, this is a new, I don't know if this is a new thing actually, but they put her in different yoga positions every 15 minutes. So there was no chance we were sleeping during that whole situation. Because she was in labor for, I don't know, it was over 24 hours. I don't actually know how long it was, but I know they came in every 15 minutes.
So even after she had blurred, that's when they were coming in, or
before?
Oh, before. Yeah, Casey had to do that. I think it was with Colin. Is like they had the big rubber ball, and she would like just to try to get her. It may have been Cope because they were trying to get him like where he positioned where he needed to be, and he was just big, and he just wasn't changing. And I remember there was just a couple times where she looked at me and laughed and just said, I mean, you are seeing me like in my just wild glory here. So if this doesn't scare you away, this is the most incredible thing I've ever been a part of. But the operating, is it an operating room? I'm going to call it an operating room. When they go in there for the C-section, there's just stuff everywhere. And you've got the anesthesiologist by Casey's head, and I'm standing beside Casey, and then they got that wall up. I want to see what's on the other side of that wall. I want to see everything happening. And I took a glance over, and I was like, oh, holy crap, that is not my gosh.
That's why the wall's there. You figured out why they put the wall in.
Yeah, I figured why the wall, in Casey was like, how's everything going? I couldn't tell you. It's great. Everything looks good. I think some of you is hanging out right now. I'm not 100% sure. I hope they put everything back in and they get through, they get Cope out. But Casey was so physically exhausted and everything's supposed to contract back down where they were having trouble to get that. Well, they get to the end and they're doing that counting thing. 4 scissors, 15 washcloths, and they're missing a washcloth. I'm kind of looking around the corner, and by this time I've got Cope, so I'm trying to hold him close and do all that and hold him to Casey. But I'm looking around going, how would y'all know if y'all didn't drop it inside?
Yeah.
Like, how do you know where it's at? And so they finally got the count right. Her doctor is incredible. He's such a good, when we had a miscarriage and he just happened to be the doctor that was on call when it happened. We fell in love with him. He's such a great guy. And so having him be there through the whole thing was probably the most remarkable thing because he kept Casey calm. Even though, she was looking to me and I was doing everything, but he would say, I don't think he's going to come out now. Like he was the one that told her, you can keep trying, but I don't see it happening. And so it was just nice to have somebody like that. But I would love to see, I didn't get to see the hospital. I didn't get to see any of that beforehand because it was right in the middle of COVID or let's see. He was right before. So it was Colin. So don't just get to have a bunch of people and do all that.
The baby class, not my favorite. I mean, I have probably one of the most prepared wives in the history of people. And she's doing all of these things to make sure we're ready. And so she's like, let's go to this class. Of course, I'm going to go. We get in the class and a lot of this is super basic stuff. I don't know if this is meant for us. I'm putting M&Ms on a sheet of paper to figure out how we're going to use our hours in the day. We both work from home. We have tons of hours during the day. We don't need to do this. For some reason in those classes, people feel like they need to ask questions, which I think is fine if you have legitimate questions. But there are some curveball questions in there. They didn't know what the abbreviation for blood pressure was.
I'm not going to ask you what BP stands for. I mean, you're not going to have to do it.
One of them asked when we were doing the room tour, can you show us how that bed folds out? Really? That seems like a game time decision. We don't need to do that right then.
If you can't figure out a hide a bed, you don't get to use it.
You don't get to take the baby home. You're not going to figure out a car seat.
Yeah. If they walk in and they go, okay, sir, I need you to open that couch up real quick just to make sure you can take this baby home.
Can't do it. I can't do it.
So no one showed me. He's like, I didn't even know there was a bed there. I thought it was just a couch. The only thing I got from the birthing class was 2 things. The first was don't shake your baby. They really harped on that, which Okay, won't do that. But then the second thing was how to swaddle, because that ended up being something that I thought, well, I can't do it that tight. Like I'll be smothering. And then Cope would just be like, free. Like it did not matter what we did. And finally we got them Velcro ones, like some of the tighter ones. And I mean, he would love it once he was tight, but I was always like, are we not squeezing him to death? Like, can he breathe?
Yeah. We learned the swaddle there. So I did learn that. I think it's interesting though, when you go into those classes, all the different types of people having a baby. These are going to be our friends now. And you don't get to pick who your parent friends are.
I told a group of our friends one time, we always do this one kind of camping trip. I was like, we have to schedule this because all of our kids are about 6 or 7 years old and younger. It's like when the kids get sports and grade school and really get all this stuff going on that they're doing, it's not that we don't want to hang out with, but we're not going to all be able to get our schedules together randomly. Like it's going to have to be like, okay, that October 12th weekend, nobody playing anything every year, or because you're not like, you're going to be at baseball games, you're going to be at recitals, you're going to be doing all this other stuff. There's no way to get together until the kids are, kind of at that age where they go, well, I don't want to go. I'd rather stay at home for the weekend.
You know what I don't understand about, and this is relates to you specifically, is how you have so many friends as an adult. I think it's crazy how many friends you have.
I can narrow that down for you. One, I do have a lot of friends. A lot of times, though, the only reason I'm able to see them as much is because of my wife. My wife is the friendest person I know. The friendest. Okay? I want to make sure you write that up. Friendest. Casey makes the most effort to keep up with every friend. Like she has a good, I'd say honestly like 15. She has like 15 best friends. And she does an incredible job of like keeping up with each one of them. But for guys, it's different because we talk quite a bit. But I may go a couple weeks not talking to a buddy who lives in Lowell. He lives so close, but I may not talk to him. But when I do talk to him, we talk as if we've talked every day. I feel like girls just, they need that, hey, let's actually catch up on things. There are some times, and as we get older with the kids, I'm like, what if we just stayed at the house? Like, what if we didn't go anywhere this weekend? So I lose that battle a lot. But
my whole thing is you have this many friends. I can barely manage 6 friends, and then you have parent friends, which I know a lot of yours overlap. But then when your kid gets a best friend at daycare, now you have to hang out with their parents too. That's 2 more people that I have to be friends with. Now I'm 10 friends deep and I don't have any time to not hang out with people. And that's the thing I'm not looking forward to. I'm just nervous about that because what if I don't like them?
Well, Cope's got a birthday coming up, and this is the first year where it was like we didn't just invite our friends' kids. Like this year, he's got school friends, but then he's also got baseball team friends. So we have a lot of different dynamics coming together. And there's on his baseball team, there's like 4 or 5 kids' parents that we love. And I'm like, man, that's 4 more families, and which is cool, but it's just you literally run out of time and days to hang out. And so it's one of those, you gotta try to group as many people in to a time as possible.
Birthday parties seem stressful. And my biggest fear is I saw this on TikTok, I think, is like there was a kid that had a birthday party and none of the kids from her class came and like they all RSVP'd. I would fight so many kids and their parents.
I'm always worried about that. Like when we started talking about Copes and he was, I want to invite this many and this people and this, but then I'm like, well, not even if people don't come because they just decided not to, but what people are busy. People have other things going on. So I'm like, what if, I'm thinking, is he going to have his feelings hurt if this kid doesn't show up in case he's like, he'll never even know.
Yeah.
Like he says their name now. And if they didn't come in that moment, he may say, where's such and such, but he's never going to 3 years from now be like, remember my 5-year-old birthday party? Remember when you didn't come? He's not going to remember that.
Well, I'm going to teach Blair to hold a grudge. So anyone that doesn't come to her birthdays, on notice now, she will be after you and she will never forgive you.
Well, and Colin may be the one, for sure, she will be the one to say, I remember. She'd be at prom and that guy, she just won't show up for a guy on prom. And she'd be like,
third birthday
when
party?
you come to that 3rd birthday party? And he's like, what are you talking about? That was my parents. He's like, I couldn't even get there. That was my parents didn't bring me. And she's like, well, maybe your parents could bring you to prom then. Like she just holds a grudge to him.
I like that. That's a good idea.
Well, that's awesome. Anything like over the top that you're excited about that's happened so far? I know you've got, I don't know, I don't remember all the milestones, so I don't know in 3 months, but what's the thing you've been the most proud of?
Well, we're finally not talking. We're not actually talking.
That is incredible.
I taught her how to drive last week. It's pretty cool.
She started doing multiplications at lunch today.
Yeah. No, she's babbling now, which is big, and she has a personality. And so I've been sick for the last week and a half. And I haven't been able to hold her because I don't want to get near her. But I think playing hard to get has made her like me more. So I haven't been able to pick her up. So Cassie's been doing it all, but she sees me across the room and I wave at her. Hey, what's up? And she's like, I'm going to smile at this guy till he picks me up. She likes me way more when I don't pick her up and she can just stare at me. I love that. She loves me so much.
Move, Cotton.
Yeah. Number one tip for dads is just keep a healthy distance from your child. Yeah. Play hard to get.
Yeah.
And they'll love you more for it.
I for that attention so much that they will literally just start smiling at you.
Starting to get a personality and she's happy, which before it's kind of like neutral, crying. And like when they're neutral, you assume they're happy, but they can't really like show you. Now she'll actually smile if we like talk to her and things like that. So that's awesome.
That's cool, dude. Well, yeah. Hey, I'm gonna take a little time out here and talk about our merchandise. Just show the link. We've got some new hats, and just want to get it out there to everybody. So if you'll hang tight 1 second, I'll be right back. Hey guys, sorry to interrupt the podcast. I just wanted to reach out to you. Don't forget to get your Dad's Corner merchandise. We've got hats, shirts. People have been buying them. We appreciate the support. We've got 3 or 4 different styles of each. If you've got time, go to thedadscorner.com/merch. Don't forget to get them. We guarantee shipping them the same day that you order it. Thank you all again for the support. Don't forget to get the merch.
If I ordered the merch right now, you would ship it tonight.
I bet I could have it to you by 10:15. All right, welcome back, guys. So we got a fun game that we're going to play, but something just hit me, and I wanted to ask you because you were telling me a little story that happened to you, and we actually we're brothers in this, and it's not something we wanted to share, but we've both had it happen to us. So I'll let you spill the beans first, pun intended.
This is the time when I realized this is what parenthood is. A little backstory. In our house, going to the bathroom is a huge deal for our daughter. Not for me or my wife, but for our daughter. Because she gets...
It's a family thing.
It's a whole family. We all cheer every time anyone goes. No, but when Blair goes, because she gets so cranky if she doesn't go to the bathroom, and it'll ruin the entire day. So probably a couple weeks ago, I was holding her and she was going to the bathroom. Yeah, good job. Get it. She doesn't care. She's just trying to go to the bathroom. She's probably like, this guy won't leave me alone. And so she went.
She'll have an awful fear of pooping her entire life.
She's like, no one's here to cheer me on. I don't know how to do it. But you know that thing when you're holding the diaper and you can feel the diaper fill up? It's disgusting, but this is parenthood, right? That's not parenthood. It gets worse. There's another level. And it's when I stand up and realize something's wet on me. And I look down and we just put her in a size up in diapers because she's getting a little thick in the thighs. And those diapers did not hold everything all down my pants on the blanket. And I didn't know what to do because I'm just standing there holding like a football baby. Cassie, Cassie, come here. And so just screaming. And yeah, it was a nightmare.
Well, mine's the exact same, but did yours happen at home?
Yeah.
Mine did not. So Casey's graduating with her master's. Cope is, man, I think he was like 4 or 5 months at the time, like still pretty tiny. She's graduating that night, so I've got him in the stands by myself. Like I've got a bottle on him, I've got diaper bag. I feel very confident. What I'm going to do, if he gets a little fussy, I'm going to try to hold him off as long as I can. But as soon as he gets to where I can't, I'm going to give him the bottle. Then he'll be good. If he goes to the bathroom, if it's not like crazy, I'll wait till I just want to see her name. I want to see her called, walk across the stage. So sure enough, they're kind of doing all the invitation or the, what's it called? Invocation.
I didn't go to grad school.
Well, this is whatever they do at graduation.
I don't know. I have no idea.
The invitation, whatever. And so they start talking about it and Cope starts getting fussy. So I'm like, oh crap. So I panic immediately, bottle, boom. So I'm sitting there holding him and he gets close to the end and he starts grunting. And it's one of those, like, I can hear it. It's loud. And I'm kind of laughing about it because other people can like hear him grunting and we're all kind of laughing about it, but he's calm. He's good. And I hear him. He finishes the bottle. I put the bottle up, and I go to pick him up because I was going to try to set him back in the carrier. And the same thing as you, I felt my jeans were wet, and it was so wet that it was running down my leg. And I thought, am I like, I'm a hot natured person. I was holding him. I'm probably sweating. Caleb, I looked down, and it's everywhere. It had gone through his diaper, up the back of his pant, out while I'm holding him, and it's all over my shirt, pants. Well, when you're surrounded in a stadium full of people, I can't change him right there. So, and of course, I like pick him up. I've got the carrier, the backpack, him. I am in the worst shape. I walk out, and everybody who sees me walking out, I hear the same thing. I hear, because everybody looks up, and then they're like, gosh. We get outside, and of course, it's freezing outside. I think it was in December. It is freezing outside. And so I go to the car, can't find any of the stuff we need. I change him. I go through an entire pack of wipes because it just feels like I can't get it all. I left the clothes in a Walmart sack in the parking lot. It was so bad. I was like, we're not keeping them. Casey calls, and she's like, hey, where you at? And I'm like, I'm sorry, boo. Like, we missed it all. I didn't hear your name. I didn't see you walk. I'm sitting in the car because he's freezing, so he's chattering, and I got the heater turned up, and it was just one of those, I'm a dad. Like, I'm a dad moment. I'm disgusting right now. I had to change clothes. He's in a overgrown shirt because I couldn't find his clothes. But it was also the funniest thing because I thought, I'm a dad. Like, here we go.
That's those moments too when you're younger and you see other people and I feel bad for them, or you kind of judge other people. And then when you're a parent, you're like, I've been there. Totally understand it. I've been there.
Yeah. And I guarantee you there might have been somebody in that parking lot saw me put them clothes in a Walmart sack and set it beside the car. And there was not a person there that was like, yeah, I'd do the same thing. Like, we can't do anything with those clothes. They're done. Yeah.
Sometimes even at home, if we have one that's too aggressive, like,
yeah,
we're going to have to get professional cleaners for this. Get it out. Throw it away. We're done.
Here's the thing. We're not rich, but you know what? Little baby clothes are pretty inexpensive. And you get a lot of them give to you. So it's like every once in a while, if you have to lose a pair, you can't really, it's like, that's all right. We're okay.
I had a pair of socks go in the diaper genie the other day, and those are gone. We don't need those socks.
You'll never get those socks back. They've actually disappeared now at this point.
I actually threw the other one away so Cassie would notice there was one sock by itself. If we're in a little bit, we're in a lot. We're throwing them both away. We're done.
Yeah. And then I'm always worried if I throw an article of clothing away that somehow Casey's going to see it, and then she's going to pull it out, and I'm going to have to go through this whole thing. So I just like kind of bury it and like push it down.
Just get it straight down, yeah.
I'm like, I don't want her to see because she's like, why'd you throw this away? I don't know. Put it back in the drawer. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with it.
Yeah, is this from some family relative that we have to keep it, or is it from SC Custom? It doesn't. Just throw it away.
It doesn't fit anymore anyways. Like, what do we have? What does it matter? So you got a fun game that you kind of found and showed a little bit to me. I'm excited about it. Let's get into that.
All right. I don't know if it'll be fun. Essentially, what we're going to do is we're going to make a tier list of some TV sitcom dads. I didn't pick the dads. These are the dads that were already on here. Hopefully we know most of them. And we're going to rank them. So what we're going to do is we're going to rank these TV dads, and we have different tiers. So the top tier is super dad. Then we have good dad. Then we have just dad. They're not good. They're not bad. They're pretty neutral. They're just a dad. Lower tier is I wouldn't let them watch my kids. And then the bottom tier is bad dad.
Okay. Some of these are going to be pretty straightforward.
Yeah. I think starting off with kind of a hot take, Al Bundy.
I'm going to say bad dad.
Do you have any reasoning?
Well, see, I almost would say I wouldn't let them watch my kids just because of the type of person that he is. I don't know. Just because of how many slutty comments he made about Kelly, I think that he's just a guy that was like he's a bad dad. He was never going to uplift his kids at all.
The problem is when this show came out, he might have just been, I wouldn't let him watch my kids because you didn't trust him. But in today's times, bad dad. I think clearly bad dad. Some of these, I'm not going to be able to pull the names, but I know what shows they're from. This one is Alan Matthews from Boy Meets World.
Yeah, okay. So I got to say super dad. This dude was there for his kids. He worked hard, great husband, showed them a good example, traveled with them through every little thing that he went through. I know Mr. Feeney's kind of like the hero in a lot of things because the advice that he gives, but I feel like a lot of times when push come to shove, Alan was the one who was standing there and standing up for his kids.
Always there for Sean as well. So kind of a bonus kid he just allowed to always come over to his house. So I completely agree.
And he always dealt with Eric's stupid shenanigans very well.
Yeah. Okay, the next one is the dad from Bob's Burgers. I've never seen Bob's Burgers. I don't know if that's a hot take. Okay.
Me either. I'm just going to say dad.
Let's just say dad. We don't know enough about him. All right. Dan from Roseanne. Dan
Connor.
I was thinking Fred Flintstone, and that's an oddly specific one. And then I was like, wait, that's not right.
Well, at first, when you showed Boy Meets World, I was thinking, I think he's also the dad. No, he wasn't. That was somebody else. From Step by Step. Like, I thought, at first, that's who I thought it was. And then you said Boy Meets World. I was like, oh, yeah, duh.
Yeah.
Okay, so Dan easily, I think he's upper tier because he worked hard. He might have been rough around the edges. Like, he liked to drink. He was kind of foul. But, again, there for his kids. He stood up for Roseanne's sister. When she got beat up by her husband, he went over there and beat him. Like, I think he's a good dad.
I'll go good dad. I don't know enough. Some of these I will have way more on.
I don't think he's super, but I think he's good.
You think? Okay, we'll go with good. All right. Now, this one is going to be tough because you have to separate. I know there was a lot of controversy about him, but we're talking about him as a dad on Full House, and that's Danny Tanner.
I want you to give your take on this first.
Okay. I think overall he was pretty good. He did a lot of advice. I think he was gone a lot in that show. There's a lot of that show where it's just the kids by themselves, or he's pawned them off on one of the uncles, which he's a news anchor. He didn't have that much going on. Overall, I think he's probably a good dad, though, in my book.
I say he's just a regular dad because the only thing that moves him up for me is that he was raising them on his own, but then he decided he couldn't do that. So he gets the two uncles in there to help, which I'm pretty sure if memory serves, they're not even both blood related uncles. They're just, one of them was a uncle, one of them was a friend, right?
I'm going to be honest. The vagueness of this is tough. Yeah.
But I think he's odd. I think he has a lot of quirks. I think a lot of the times, a lot of the episodes where there was issues, he was involved and was a big factor in it. So I'm just going to say that he was just he was good dad or dad. He definitely wasn't higher up, but also.
We'll go dad. Maybe that's controversial. Let's go dad.
I also wouldn't let him watch my kids.
Okay, we'll go dad. So we'll meet in the middle. We'll just leave him at dad. Right. Okay, this one could be polarizing. I think Goofy, great dad. I think that whole movie is him trying to be a great dad. I wouldn't let him watch my kids, though. So here may be how we name the side pieces.
Well, here's what sucks. You wouldn't let him watch him because you and I know Goofy is Goofy.
Yeah.
Like he may let your kid play around by the oven. Like he wouldn't. But in terms of like he tried to do stuff for his kid, I think he's a dad. I think he's a dad.
You're
because
going high. Okay.
I think his negligence is what keeps him there.
I thought you were going to put him higher. I thought you were going good dad. So just a dad.
Oh,
okay.
No. Just a dad.
Right.
Yeah. Because he is negligent. I mean, first off, you make your kid go on the road trip knowing that that's what your kid wanted. He wanted to go to the concert. Then you make him feel bad about it. Like, I don't know. You know, you asked him to pick and then he picked and then you got your feelings hurt because he didn't pick what you wanted him to pick. Don't give him the option.
You remember these movies way more than I do. Like, you're just giving me plot points that I completely forgot about. All right. Homer Simpson.
I wouldn't let him watch my kids for sure.
Yeah, I think it's a between these bottom two
bad,
easily.
Yeah, I'm gonna say
he drinks a lot. He's not overly bad, I don't think, to his children. I don't think he's good to them ever either.
I don't think he's involved with his children at all. I think that's what. Yeah,
I think
he's just a dad on there. Yeah.
Okay, this is Terry Crews, but I'm not sure from what.
Yeah, it's from Everybody Hates Chris.
Okay, I don't know this show. Maybe I should have picked from where I knew more people.
I don't know that show either, but from the few episodes I've seen, he'd either be good dad or super dad. Not super dad. I think he would be good dad or dad because he worked hard. He was helping raise the kids. They lived in an apartment. He was trying to like at least keep them on the straight and narrow. He always worked like a lot of jobs. So I think he was always trying. He was at least present. So I would say I would say good dad.
In Brooklyn Nine-Nine, he was also a super dad. So
he was twins.
Yeah, twins. Listen to Taylor Swift. It was his favorite artist.
Yep.
Okay.
This is the one. I don't know this one. So this is going to be on you.
This guy is Jim from The Office. That's it.
Yep. Yes.
So I'm just going to plop him in dad. Haven't seen it. Malcolm in the Middle is another show that I haven't seen that much of. So
I haven't either. But the episodes I've seen, I mean, his kids were always into stuff, and I feel like that's a reflection of how he just let them run wild sometimes. I'm gonna go. I wouldn't let him watch my kids.
All right, he had too much going on.
Yeah, okay. Well, and then he ended up doing a lot later on.
Gotcha.
Well, Walter White. I mean, he ended up becoming.
We're gonna get there. He's on the list. All right,
he is.
He's down
here.
We've got
Perfect.
We've got him. Ned Stark from Game of Thrones.
Hard to get on this one because he wasn't around long enough. But I think super dad.
He did make his teenage child, watch a beheading. And that's the only reason I think I couldn't get away with that.
But it goes back to the same thing you said earlier about Bundy. Like, you got to think about the time that they were in. That's just kind of normal life.
The fantasy world. But yeah, okay, I'm with you.
But I'm saying that was like their normal. It wasn't like he was on the set of Full House and made DJ do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's fair. That would be different if Bob Saget did that.
Yeah. Then that makes Full House a whole different story.
Kind of a good episode, though. I would watch it.
Solid.
We'll put him at Super Dad. He got beheaded and killed really early, but trying to protect his kids is how he died.
Well, and so far, Super Dad in a fight, a good dad. I don't know. Good dad's probably going to win in a fight right now
against Super Dad.
Against any other group, I think Good Dad is those are two large individuals.
Big dudes, yeah.
Yep.
I don't know. Okay. Peter Griffin.
You can go first.
Which one should I just put him in the bottom? Like, what do we?
Yeah, because when he
he's just verbally abusive.
Yeah, when Meg and their friends dressed up for Halloween, and he drove by, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, girls, we look so hot." And they drove by, ugly bitches, and he just kept driving. It's his own daughter. Yeah, he's got to go there.
We have to do bad dad. I don't even think I would let my kids go. This is the house. I wouldn't let my kids go to this house, or even if I was present.
Yeah.
Okay. We have the dad from the Proud Family. I don't know enough about this show. The show was on when I was watching Disney Channel, but I don't remember it. I would probably just put him in dad.
I think we got to go to the middle because I don't know the show either.
Okay. This one I think is easy.
This is the easiest one we have.
Yeah. Bill Dunphy, Super Dad.
Super Dad.
First of all, knows magic. Every dad's dream is to know magic. He was probably the best real estate agent I've ever seen and just did everything for his kids. Super Dad.
He tried to relate with each kid on stuff that they like.
He's also the dad that you can kind of go to about anything, and they won't go to the mom, but they'll tell him, and then he tells the mom. So he's kind of like the perfect middleman there.
And he's also not going to explode and be like angry.
Okay. I'm South Park. This is Kyle's dad.
This is way out of my wheelhouse.
Yeah, me too. I'm going to just assume because it's from South Park, it's one of these two, but I wouldn't let them watch my kids.
Yep, I agree with that.
Okay, Raymond from Everybody Loves Raymond.
I wouldn't let him watch my kids. I'm almost on the verge of bad dad.
I don't remember him ever really interacting with the kids at all in that show.
Exactly.
That show is a whole show about him not interacting with his children.
Yep, everybody loves Raymond except his kids. Yeah, I would say he literally, I mean, would rather go like golf. I never saw him really, anytime he spoke to the kids, it felt like he was speaking to a stranger.
In King of Queens, I know he's not on here, but did he have kids? Okay, so he'd be fine. But
yeah, and I think if he did, they would be. Well,
Everybody Loves Raymond.
They did crossovers to where they were on each other's show.
Gotcha. Okay, so we have Red from That 70s Show. This is an interesting one, I think.
Dude, see, I think you got to take the time into consideration. That's how in the 70s, I think that he's a hard ass, but it doesn't mean he's not a good dad. I think he's a good to super dad.
I think I agree. I think I'll probably put him in good dad. I don't think he's probably as present as a super dad needs to be. I will say that. But I think he is a hard ass, but that doesn't make him a bad dad. It's just a different parenting style, especially in that time. So I think good dad is an easy place to put him.
He's the one that was going to yell at you, but also would be the one to pull you aside and be like, I'll take care of you. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Okay. American
Stan?
dad. The Stan? American dad.
I need to think about this one for a second because, well, first off, the show itself, it's hard to wrap your head around him. I feel like that show was one of those where he may do something real stupid in the beginning, but he would try to make it right by the end of it. Whereas like Peter Griffin was just like, it's just chaos the whole time. So, but I wouldn't let him watch my kids. So I don't think he's a bad dad. I also don't think he's like, he's dad but I wouldn't let him watch my kids.
I think
he has an alien living at his house. Like if you let an alien live with your kids, you're a bad dad. Dude, I want you to go down. I want you to go down. I think he's a bad dad. The situation that he put him in. You
talked yourself into it.
The situation he put his family in, having an alien living in the house, the way he treated his wife, his kids. I mean, you can't be this top-notch Secret Service type guy and then raise kids like that. So, yeah, bad dad.
Okay, I'm with you. We have Tim Allen from Home Improvement.
Man.
I think there's a category you have to put him in. And I think it's not necessarily because he is not a good dad. I just think he fits this category more than any other. And that's that I wouldn't let him watch my kids. I think it'd be fun for him to be around him with my kids and it'd be entertaining. But he's got so much going on and he's just doing stuff you shouldn't do with kids.
Well, and I feel like he was very also distant. I feel like he was, when you can't let him watch your kids because, I mean, he may try to hotwire the dishwasher and it explode.
Right. That's my fear. But if I was there and we're keeping a safe distance, I'd be entertained. So I would hang out with them as a dad.
I think, so bad dad, I'm going with like, I don't even know if I'd want to hang out with. I would hang out with Tim Allen.
Yeah.
Just me. I don't want the kids anywhere near his house in case it burns down.
Yeah.
Perfect. And I want to go next door to talk to Wilson.
Over the fence.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, one of the, I would say if he's got to be super dad.
What's his name? I can't remember his name. He's from Phil. Uncle Phil from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah, Fresh Prince. Yeah, dude, super dad. Took in a nephew, raised an entire family in the nicest house that you can imagine, just by being a judge, which I don't know how much judges make, but the house that they lived in and some of the luxuries that they had, he was doing really well.
Well, they were living in Bel-Air. Like Bel-Air's not cheap.
You know what makes him the super dad? The one episode makes him super dad. Him and Will's dad's supposed to take Will on that in the truck with him to travel the country. He backs out last minute. Him and Uncle Phil have that close to close, heart to heart, like sad. Why don't he want me, man? And he hugs him, dude. Oh my gosh, one of my favorite episodes of a show. I wish there was Super Duper Dad. He'd probably be at that time.
Some of these are just so easy to put on the board. Some are a little more difficult, but that one's simple. This one is, I don't think, going to be overly difficult, but Breaking Bad dad.
Yeah.
Walter White.
Dad.
Breaking Bad dad. I was trying to do a play on words. It didn't really work that well, but
Walter White. Okay. Yep. I don't know. I didn't really watch the show a ton, but I just gotta imagine if you're making meth in the house that you're a bad dad.
Okay. So you think anyone out there that's making meth, I want to get this on the record, anyone out there that's making meth in their house, bad dad automatically?
Probably.
Okay. Yep. And I think that risks the safety of your children. I agree, but I wanted to make sure that you said that.
There may be that one off where, but yeah, bad dad for sure.
Okay. Well, this one was a custom one I added. I have no idea why this was the only one I added, but I felt like it needed to be here.
I have one more that I have one, maybe two more that I want to ask you about just to get your opinion on. I mean, well, Mufasa, definitely not super dad. I mean, if you're being honest, I'm not letting him watch my kids. He would eat them. I mean, he's a lion.
They could be vegetarians. They didn't eat any animals that whole show.
And he wasn't really around too long.
I will challenge you on the super dad. He committed the ultimate sacrifice by saving his son and giving up his own life when all those wildebeest trampled him. That was the saddest moment as a kid. Oh my gosh, that one. That
yeah, the fact that they put that in a kid movie, still just like Bambi's mom getting, it's like, what are we doing? I agree with you on the sacrifice. That does make me change a little bit. I would say good dad, just because he also should have been able to do a pull-up.
He can't do a pull-up. He's a lion. His biceps work differently.
You just told me that they didn't eat meat, so we're obviously far-fetched here. We're obviously doing things willy-nilly. Yeah, I have one.
I think this is a solid list. I'm trying to see if there's anything that's overly wrong with it. I think it's good. I think the one that people will disagree with us is, mostly you, is Danny Tanner just being a dad. I think
he's too high right there almost.
All right. Well, they can leave a comment if Danny Tanner should be a good dad or if he should be lower on the list. Leave a comment and yell at Jason and tell him he's wrong.
Well, and here's the thing too. If you have a problem with any of these placements, leave a comment, but don't just say, "Oh, he should have been higher," or "Oh, he should have been lower." Give some context. Like, let us know why it's not good.
Yeah. And I'll comment back and tell you why you're wrong.
Yeah, and I have one more for the people. Carl Winslow. Family Matters.
See, that's before my time. I didn't watch the reruns of that. And I think,
well, that can't be before your time. It was the same time as Boy Meets World.
Well, I didn't watch it. I don't know.
I mean, Super Dad so nice. He was a cop, so he's out there protecting and serving. Took care of his family, had hearts to hearts with his boys, with his daughter. I mean, right there with all of them.
Is this a show with Urkel?
Yeah.
I just call it Urkel. That's why. That's why I didn't know what you're talking about. I didn't really watch it still. But yeah, okay.
Man, well, yeah, that was fun. A lot of good dads, a lot of bad dads. I feel like a lot of people are going to have certain comments. Bob Saget, Full House, that's going to get a lot of comments. So we'll see what people say to that. But I appreciate you being on, Caleb. Man, welcome to fatherhood. I know I've known you for a while now. You're going to be a great dad. Blair's very lucky to have both you and Cassie. Cassie's an incredible mom, and just to have both of y'all, and especially a support staff. I know your family's close. Your mom and dad are probably over the moon. I'm surprised they even let her stay with y'all at all. I'm surprised they're not over there.
They might be in my house now. I'm not sure.
They may be in the other room. All right, well, we got a couple things left to do. One, Caleb, you got a dad joke for us?
Yes, I do.
All right, let's hear it.
What did the tomato say to the other tomato during a race?
You better catch up.
Yep, nailed it.
Dude, dad jokes are classic because you most of the time already know the punchline. That's what makes them great. Thanks again, Caleb, man. We appreciate you being on. Thanks for giving some insight. We got one thing left to do. Don't forget, shut the dang door.